We have some fabulous experts here tonight that are able to share some first-hand knowledge with you. They're actually able to talk you through the services that are available to you and the things that you might like to do to access those services. So what we will do is we will kick off tonight. We've got a series of videos to show you that are examples of some situations you may find yourself in. So we're going to commence with those videos and then we're going to have the panel discuss some services that might be available to you. So we'll commence with the first movie.
I came to Australia with big hopes and dreams. I wanted to earn a degree, find a good husband and live in this beautiful country. For a while, I felt like my dreams were coming true. I met the nicest man who supported me emotionally and financially. I didn't feel so alone anymore. He was my family. I didn't think much of anything. Applying for a partner visa was the last thing on my mind. Everything was perfect. I felt like I could fly. Like everything, my fairy tale had an expiry date. First, he started controlling me, always wanting to know where I'd been and not giving me money when I needed it. Then he started taking his anger out on me, and it started showing on me. My body, my face, but my scars run deeper. I was helpless and lonely again. Home was oceans away, and it was too late to go back. I was already committed. My society would shun me if I ran back. My parents wouldn't understand. Who would want to take my hand in marriage? One day, he beat me really bad. The police were involved and he was charged. And I had to take an apprehended domestic violence order against him. This man, he couldn't enter our rented apartment or contact me. I had no money and no idea what to do with the apartment. Rent and bills were due. Amongst all this, I couldn't concentrate on my studies. I don't know what I was thinking when I submitted my assignment without proofreading. Maybe I wasn't thinking at all. I'm not a liar. I'm not a cheater. I just copied that text with the intention of rewriting in my own words. But there is little space in my head for order these days. I am so stressed. My heart pounds so hard I can cry all day long. Now I'm going to lose my education, with no possibility of getting a partner visa and little chance to remain in Australia. I think I have lost everything.
My name's Kate and I'm a solicitor with Redfern Legal Centre, and the most important thing about what that means for you guys is that we give free legal advice to every international student who lives in New South Wales. From that movie is what you've just seen is not okay. It's not okay to be a victim of domestic violence in Australia, and you can get help.
My name is Thompson Chung, and I'm the National President of the Council of International Students Australia, which is the national peak organisation for international students. And one of my roles, of course, being the National President, is to be an advocate for international students. And I believe that in such situation, it is important for students themselves to be an own advocate, because you are the one who understand your own issues, and you are the one who needs to learn how to articulate that out to your peers and also to people that you can trust. Now, when I say people you can trust, you have to be careful. The fact is, it is important to speak up for yourself. That's my key message for this.
Thank you, Thompson. Gavin, could I now pass over to you? Gavin, can you share who you are with everybody and also talk about what actually is domestic violence? Because it's very often misunderstood.
It is, and domestic violence is in a lot of homes all around the world. Gavin Vengate's my name. I'm the most senior police officer across New South Wales that looks at the safety and wellbeing of international students, all 200,000 of them. But domestic violence is a very, very serious crime, and domestic violence is not just physical. A lot of people think it's just being assaulted, but in fact that's not the case at all. New South Wales, it's emotional abuse, psychological abuse and sexual abuse. So those three areas are just as important to us as people being physically assaulted.
Certainly, for people here on student visas, in many ways, having that visa cancelled is the last thing that we would want to happen. We no longer have a system where visas can be cancelled automatically, and there's no such thing as a mandatory cancellation. It always has to be considered individually on its merits. If we receive what we refer to as adverse information, we have to discuss that with you. In most cases, we'd be well aware that there might be somebody who has some personal animosity towards you. So the sorts of fears that you have will almost certainly be unfounded. In almost every case that comes to our attention, we're looking for ways of allowing that person to continue their studies in Australia. And even when there are breaks in the studies or deferrals, there's usually a way, if you're upfront with us, if you're upfront with your education provider, raise the issues early, come to us, then you're not going to have that sort of an issue. But overcoming that fear about having your visa cancelled, it's a really important step. The worst thing you can do is probably hide your head in the sand and hope that the problem will go away.
I'm Michele from Transcultural Mental Health Center, and I work there as the mental health promotion manager.
And in that scenario we just saw in the movie, what do you think is happening in that situation, and where do you think people could access your services?
Well, in plain English, I think people should access my service as soon as there is a perception of an issue, as soon as possible. The problem is that sometimes people wait till the situation gets worse and worse from an emotional point of view, and that is when the problems start, because the later you seek help, the more difficult it will be for us to help you.
Hello, my name is Mary Lou Edwards, and I manage the Multicultural Problem Gambling Service.
So in that scenario, if your partner starts to act differently, what are some of the signs that people really should be aware of, and what could be the causes?
So sometimes if your partner or friend's behaviour changes unexpectedly in ways that you just find very surprising, one of the underlying issues could be that they engage in gambling that might have gotten out of control. If that person's borrowing money repeatedly and not returning, or you find that some of your belongings are missing because they might have sold it so they can finance their gambling, or they've got unexplained absences that you expect them to be somewhere but they don't show up, could be potentially all signs that the person's engaging in gambling that is out of control. The Multicultural Problem Gambling Service is a free and confidential service that provides counselling in many languages to people who might be having problems with their gambling, but also to their partners or friends or relatives that are affected by the gambling.
Yeah, we always say it's best for people to come as early as possible, because that gives us the most time to be as helpful as possible. So in that video then, the girl was worried about paying her rent because her partner, who had been violent towards her, was not allowed into the house anymore because of the apprehended violence order, the AVO, that was taken out against him. She was also concerned about paying her bills, about where her money was coming from. And so the sooner that she comes to see us, the sooner that we can help her with victims' compensation money. So it's like emergency money. It's sort of up to about $1,000 that we can get her access to, and that can really, really help in that acute time in the weeks immediately after a really stressful event like that. And again, coming early. We can also have that conversation with you about, do you want to move out of your house, or do you want your partner to move out of your house? And the laws in New South Wales are actually really great for domestic violence victims at the moment who do want to move out of their place because of domestic violence, or who do want to stay, and there are powers to get the perpetrator of the violence out of the house. So things are in a pretty good way at the moment.
And what we need to make sure is that the victim does not pay for any policing services. So you get a police prosecutor at court, you don't pay for that. We pay for all the services when they're at court, as if you're a victim. We also pay for all the interpreting from the first time people come in the police station or from when they ring up. So we look after all the costs for a victim in those cases. The main thing for us is just trust us and come to us if you need help. That's where we can start it all from in the first place.